And there are several sort of smelting works and lots of other bits and pieces. So we'll show you around the map and show you what it's about. So we've got from here we've got two blast furnaces. We've got this one and the one that I'm stood on, which is pretty much exactly the same. We've got this power plant over here, which is producing power for it. Tech It, which is a fantastic mod pack, loads and loads of optional extras on it. And one thing I really love is the ability to build nuclear reactors. We have a couple of nuclear reactors around the site producing power for the cities. One of them, I think, did go bang and left a big crater, but I'm fairly sure that's all been built over now. There's well over 1,000 buildings on this server, all of a big scale. And it's actually one of the most realistic, it's not really realistic, but all of the buildings are in good proportion, all the roads are in good proportion. Lots and lots of the buildings are actually based on buildings in real life, or a very similar style to. So basically, I'll start off with this. I'll try and cover this episode. It's pretty huge, but we'll see what we can get around. I'm going to try and limit myself to sort of 10-15 minute episodes so people don't get too bored. And so yeah, let's have a quick look around. Apologies for the lag. Not only is it a really huge server, my computer doesn't cope particularly well with that, and to top it all off, my internet speed isn't great. So we haven't got the best recording base, but we'll get there. Let's see what we've got. Also, in all these big orange things here, there are conveyor belts that move things around from the different parts of the site. They go pretty much all over, and there's a big filtering system to tell which carts are full, which carts are empty, and what's in the carts. So we'll go down to the bottom here and have a look around. So what's this? There's a huge level of detail on here. All of the buildings are named. Even the furnace is called Allen. Output feed. Let's have a quick look inside. So it's all very. I mean, if you have a look at, if you go on Google and type in red car, one word, and then blast furnace, you'll be able to see the sort of thing that this building's based on. It's a blast furnace up in Newcastle. I think it closed down recently. It could have been reopened, but yeah, it's all based on that sort of thing. Let's have a look around in this one as well. See, it is built on creative, but I don't think we would have been able to build anything of this sort of scale if it wasn't on creative. And it probably would have taken us significantly more than 3 years to do it if we had. So what we've got over here. I was previously recording an episode, and there was such amount of lag that a huge sort of chasm opened up across here. I fell into it, and that was pretty much it. That's the one bad thing about this server, is the spawn point is about a 10-minute, maybe 15-minute flight away from where anything actually is. Because when we first spawned on the map, it wasn't particularly good terrain for building. It was all just snowy mountains and other bits and pieces and lots of trees. So we decided to fly somewhere where there was good space for building. And it's sort of gone from there. But what that does mean is if we ever fall off the base of the map or anything like that, it normally takes a long time to get back. Luckily, with TechIt, we have got the coordinates in the top corner, and that is very helpful. I think without those, I would have been stuffed. The first time I died falling out the bottom of the map because they'd left a mineshaft open that went straight down through the bedrock. I had no idea what the coordinates were and started flying off in a random direction. And then luckily I remembered that I'd put some pictures on Facebook of this server, and they had the coordinates in the top corner. So I had to go and scour around Facebook to try and find what the coordinates were to get back to the map. Anyway, let's have a quick look around what we've got. So I'm going back around the blast furnaces at the moment. Again, the scale of this is absolutely huge. And all of this ground as well. This has all been levelled out. I think some of it has even been built over sort of marshland and water and other bits and pieces. Let's jump over this way. Ooh. Follow it around. I think this is the main power supply that's been encased in bedrock. Let's keep going. What's this? Pump house. Water related, I think. We've got, yep, 2 pumps that pump water around the site. Let's go and have a look over this way. Again, the realism is absolutely amazing. All of these are very, very similar to buildings in real life. So this would be a workshop, I think. This bit of the site is actually one of the oldest buildings on this server. Although it's one of the biggest, this was one of the first things that was actually built. Around the same sort of time as the first buildings at Notterby were being built, this was. I'm not sure if this is deliberate. Tomsky's got a very interesting way of doing things, where essentially, if a building he thinks has actually become sort of abandoned and disused in a map, he will go through and make it look abandoned. He actually did that to one of my buildings when it wasn't, but we'll skip over that and go and have a look at that later. But I actually now prefer it. I think it looks better. Let's go and have a quick look in here. This is one of the bigger sort of halls in this building. And again, this bit is actually sort of based on, again, if you get your Google image search up and Google Stanton Ironworks, it's an ironworks in Nottingham that was demolished, but we managed to get into it sort of a couple of days before the demo teams moved in and took it all down and got some really nice photos of it, which leads me on to my next point really, which is we all sort of met the guys that run this server through a hobby called Urban Exploration. Don't know if you've heard of it. If you haven't, give it a Google. It's pretty much getting into places that you're not technically allowed to be, whether that be abandoned mines, storm drains, sewers, nuclear bunkers, military bases, pretty much anything you can think of. And so there's actually quite a lot of that hobby has come through in this map. There's a lot of things that we've built so that other people can sort of find it and explore it. Over in the seaside town, for example, I built a network of smugglers' tunnels, but then sort of bricked them up as they would be in real life. But each section of it is still accessible, but you have to sort of work hard finding your way through the basements of houses to try and get into it. There's also a couple of models of real life things that we've explored. I built a scale model of a Litirmont. Well, it's I don't know if you would have ever heard of it. It's something called the Maginot Lines, which is in the I think it's just after World War One, before the start of World War Two. The French and Belgium countries built a huge network of bunkers, fortified bunkers along their borders to protect themselves from Europe if war ever happened again. They were hugely successful. And if it hadn't been for, I think it was Belgium that surrendered, and that line of the Maginot Line then became open, and the German army essentially just bypassed the whole of the French lot and went straight around the side of them. And some of the forts were, they were holding out themselves after France had already surrendered. They kept going, and they wouldn't surrender until a French member of Parliament, I think, went down and told them to surrender. They were still fighting, and there's an amazing bunker called Litirmont that is there's one called Thermont, which is open to the public. You can go and have a look around. It's fantastic. It's more or less exactly how it would have been back in 1930s, 1940s. All been restored, absolutely fantastic. But there's another one called Litirmont, which is completely derelict, but it's I don't know if it's sealed or not at the moment. When we went down, we managed to get into it, and I built a 1-to-1 scale replica of that. Again, these things are absolutely huge. They run for miles underground, and then there's sort of lift shafts that pop up with gun turrets that pop out of the ground and that sort of thing. So we'll fly over and we'll have a look at that if I can find it. Let me just follow these train line. No, I won't follow the train line. I'll follow this. See what we can find. Also, I've got no idea what the time is, so I've not really been keeping track of it. But after the Litirmont, we'll end this episode, and we'll start it again at another point. Let's go back this way. I think I've got myself a bit lost here. No, this looks like Notterby. So I think this is the outskirts of Notterby. If I'm right, there should be a hospital somewhere around here. Yeah, so this is the old hospital. It was built in a sort of very Victorian style. and then there were sort of more modernist bits added onto it, almost like a real hospital would be. There's a more modern bit around the back there. But I think this has currently been abandoned, and they've built a new hospital. Oh, no, go away. Over this way, so we'll have a quick look. Again, it goes back to Tomsky's ethos of once it gets abandoned, it actually does get blocked up and you can't get in there anymore. And then the new one is over here, and that's a really nice building. It's very, very modern. In fact, it's one of my favourite buildings on this map. Here we go. It's a big... I mean, all the inside of it has been done really nicely. All redstone lights. I think they're in the process of kitting out with proper surgeries and everything. Trying to make it look as realistic as possible. But yeah, this is really, really nice. Right, so we'll go and find the Timon. It's over this way. I remember where I've put it. I've sort of turned it into a visitor's museum type thing. But it's still very accurate for what it is. I think that's my favourite thing that I've built on this map is the Timon replica. Hang on, let's let it generate. Again, this is quite cool. There's a lift tower essentially. Ooh, are you gonna spawn? Come on, come on. There we go. So that's a working lift, all powered by redstone, which is really nice. All right. Let's just keep going this way. Ignore the lag. Ignore it. We'll work it out for now. Okay, where am I? Right, okay. So what I need to do is follow this. Again, the internet speed's not great. So we'll try and make do with what we've got. Okay, so this is the gym, or one of the gyms. There's a nice swimming pool in there. Diving board. Gym. Right, okay, so it's over this way. That goes down into a really nice, there's a mine that spawned here underneath that. That's really, really cool. It's not fully working, I don't think, but there's like a minecart roller coaster. We'll go on that in the next episode and have a look around. Okay, so this is the entrance to my visitor centre for Latimon. I'll come back to this in a second. I'll show the outside of it first. The outside of it is here, and this is fairly accurate actually. It's got the big red sealed doors. That's pretty much the exact same sign that's on the front of it. You've got your gun ports here and there, and sort of a moat that goes around it. I can't remember if it had water in it, but it does occasionally flood. And the whole thing is pretty overgrown, made of concrete. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you can see. So that's the French for it. Gros ouvrage de la Timon. Ouvrage is the sort of name of the type of fort. There's large ones and small ones. This is the larger one. It's not the largest one on the Maginot Lines, but it's fairly big. It took us an entire day to get around it, so we'll follow this trail back. Again, this entrance into it is actually based on another real thing. There's a drainage at it that sort of runs out away from it, down the hill. And we walked down that for hours and hours trying to find the end of it, and in the end we just gave up and turned around. But this, I've basically built it so that so that you enter into the fort through this drainage at it. So it does basically just do this. I've blocked it off there, but it goes as far as the local river. Let's follow it up this way. Keep going, keep going. Okay, so this is the lower floor of the structure we just saw above ground. We'll go up into there. There's lots of furnaces and bits and pieces in here. Okay, so that'll be the gun ports. Another on the other side. So they would have had these train tracks in. And yeah, it was fairly amazing. They've got another gun port here. That's based on the actual building. There was a little room so that you could stand in here and shoot out there if the door was breached. But yeah, there's an amazing lift shaft, big enough to take a small train down. Let's try and edge over it with a lag without going. So this is more or less based on the exact same. I mean, you can Google Latimon and have a look at what it actually looks like. There were sort of carts kicking around at the bottom. The bottom was flooded. I've tried to keep these as accurate as possible. There is the most ridiculous ladder that goes down it that we climbed down. obviously, I have to take the hardcore route. There was stairs, but you know, a rusty ladder over a 600-foot drop is always a bit more fun. So let's go down the stairs. So basically, both sides there the lift. This was a personnel lift that had a staircase running around it. Again, the scale of this was absolutely huge. It ran so far beneath ground that it's more or less impenetrable to any sort of bombs or anything. They couldn't blow it up. And yeah, I mean, it kept the Germans at bay for a very long time, for years, in fact. Let's get down to the bottom. It's not 100% finished, this, but I mean, we're getting there. It's as accurate as I can try and make it. All the scale is about right. There were a few things I couldn't put in, like the moving blast doors that swung open. Although, if anyone wants to tell me how I can make a blast door that will swing on a pivot, feel free to let me know and I'll try and build it. Again, there's another gun port there. Let's keep going a bit further on. So basically, in the first section of it, there are a couple of little workshop rooms where the trains will come in and be serviced right at the start. There was a map that I think I based this on to try and keep it as accurate as possible. And the first big sort of feature is this. It's where essentially the larger guns around the fort, they'd have sort of what they were called attack blocks. They'd pop up all over the place. There were some with big, howitzers in, and some with machine guns. But this was the section where essentially the ammunition was kept before it was shipped out to these different turrets. And it was also where some of the loading bays and personnel quarters were. So we'll have a quick look through here. I've tried to build the overhead gantry as accurately as I possibly could. And there's some of these sort of bigger rooms that were used to keep shells in. Originally, these would have been lined with huge shells for the guns, and there's quite a few of them. I won't go too much further into this because we're running out of time for this episode, but never mind, we'll continue with it the next time. But the attack blocks is something I'm still sort of yet to build. I've not got round to doing it yet. It's such a huge project that I'm not quite sure when I'll get time to. But never mind, we'll have a look down there at some point later. I'm not going to show you now. But that gives you sort of an overall gist of what this thing's like. Let's head back out this way. Keep going. I'll just fly out. Okay. Oh, the lag. Oh, okay. Let's not break my way out. Let's go back out this way. Following the drainage of it. Right, okay. So it's quite funny. You actually notice that, obviously, the people playing the server who don't know who built it won't particularly know this. But a lot of the buildings you tend to find, like Tomsky and the other guys that like going out and exploring, they like sort of the old industrial buildings. They like coal mines and blast furnaces and stuff like that. And you find on this server they've built quite a lot of those. That's what they've done. I prefer sort of underground stuff, so that's why I've built underground bunkers and that sort of thing. I mean, so you find that we've ended up going towards whatever we sort of prefer has been what's built, if that makes sense. Let's fly back over. Let's have a quick look at Notterby. We'll only have a quick look. Some more buildings. Okay, this is quite interesting. This is, I think, the nuclear reactor. Let's have a quick look in there. What's that? Yeah. So this is one of the reactors, main building. Again, the outside of this building has changed quite a few times. So yeah, we've got... Has it been turned off? I'm not going to play with that too much, I don't want it to explode. There's a few different parts of this. Okay, that makes sense. So this is the actual reactor core. And there's, as far as I can remember, there are actually sort of sirens over the whole map so that if it does start to overheat, the sirens go off, um, and you can sort of rush back and try and cool it down before it explodes, because it's right in the middle of the map, and if this went up, it would take quite a lot with it, and we don't want that. So it used to be right out in the sticks. It used to be quite far from anything, but now because we've built the map up so much, it's gotten completely surrounded. There's a lot of houses. I mean, this is one thing you find quite a lot about Minecraft maps in general. That there'll be a lot of really sort of interesting big builds, but say for a city, there won't be actually that many houses. This map is more realistic in the fact that there are thousands and thousands of houses in all of the cities, that sort of sprawl out into the forests and just sort of everywhere. And they're all linked with little shops, underpasses, railways, everything. I mean, it's really realistic. Let's head back this way into the main city. Alright, I'll walk it to give it time to load up. So again, this part of the motorway. This is an unfinished building. Right, so this is quite cool. So this is pretty much the biggest thing that I've built on this map. There's 2 underground car parks. There's one for cars and one for deliveries that run underneath this building here. It's not loading particularly well. Let's walk down this way and try and get it to load. But essentially, this is a shopping centre that I built, complete with multiplex cinema, ice rink, load of shops, huge glass dome. This is about halfway down it. Let's go inside and have a look. This is one of those projects where you build the outline of something and the sort of structure of it, and then you sort of sitting back and think, did I really want to do that? Did I really want to make it that big? And in the end, this took me months and months, because I haven't really been able to play the server that much. It's just taken so long. And then when I finished it, huge relief. Oh, I don't have to work on that anymore. But I normally do stuff like that. Make projects too big. Like, I'll see if I can dig it out. But I actually built a 1-to-1 scale Battersea power station. And that took, sort of 6 months or so. Complete with all of the generators and other bits and pieces. But yeah, this is pretty much the centre of Notterby. We'll have a quick look down this way. This is a theatre, I think, that Tomsky built. The inside of it is really nice detail, and just sort of the use of colour is pretty fantastic as well. So let's go and have a look. It's quite funny. Even though I've sort of built the least amount of things on this map, I actually studied architecture back in the day before going into marketing and web development and stuff. So I actually appreciate what he's done here. It's pretty amazing. There's a really nice roof structure, and I think there's a light that comes down in the middle as well. But yeah, it's just sort of, although it's not quite finished yet, I don't think. I think there's still the backstage area that needs building and curtains to come across and the bits and pieces. It's almost there. What we've got. Okay, so again, this is another really nice building. We've got the town hall there. We'll go right. Let's go and have a look at the train station, because the train station is pretty amazing. All right, well, quickly whilst I'm here, this is an interesting building. So we've got, though it doesn't look like much, it's a relatively simple building. This is based on a Cold War, so 1980s, well 1970s, 1980s, nuclear bunker called Rotor Bunker. That's ROTOR. And they were built, I think there's probably 30 or 40 of them built across the United Kingdom. And they sort of tried to disguise them as sort of chalet bungalow type things. But underneath there was actually a 2-level nuclear bunker. I mean, they're absolutely massive. We'll have a look around this at another point, but it ended up getting turned into a sort of teleportation exchange so we can get around the map quicker. But unfortunately, that never really worked properly. I'm not quite sure why. We'd set it all up properly, but having so many teleportation devices next to each other seemed to sort of not work properly, and quite often you'd either click teleport and not end up where you wanted to be, or end up being bounced between all of them so quickly that the server thinks you're hacking and kicks you out. This is, again, one of my favourite buildings in the background there, a nice little skyscraper. Okay, so let's go and have a look at the train station. So this is the underpass underneath the main line, but the train station's in here. So you've got the ticket booths. We've got turnstiles. Let's go through here. Okay. This goes out onto the platform. Got a nice clock. Show you what time it is. It's not actually that time. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm still in bed, but never mind. That's a Sunday. So yeah, let's have a quick look if we can get down and under the platform. So yeah, here we go. So here's the underpass. We can get around and underneath. So all nice signs everywhere. Platform 2 and 3. What's that? Gunnery Wharf. We'll have a look back there in a minute. There we go. So back onto the main platform. It's a shame that we can't actually build, full-size moving trains with this, but never mind. Again, if we can, let us know. Show us a tutorial. Let's head out this way. What's in there? I've got a feeling that might go to the what was it? The sort of metro tube systems type thing that we were building. It wasn't ever really finished properly, but it works quite nicely. It runs all the way around the city, and there were sort of 5 or 6 stations just in this one city. But we'll have a look around that at some point later. Let's go and have a look at Gunnery Wharf. That's quite nice. It sort of reminds me of the Isle of Dogs and Canary Wharf in London. It's fairly similar to that. Let's go and have a look. So over there, you can just see on the hill, that's a solar array to build up power for the teleportation devices, I think. Right, so here's Gunnery Wharf. I think, is it? I'm sure I saw it. Oh, the caverns. So, yeah, these sections go quite far back underneath the city, and they're sort of vaguely based on the Victoria Arches in Manchester. Again, another site that we've explored. Let's keep going. Where are we going now? Actually, scrap the 10-minute episodes. Let's call it half hour. Get more in. Show you guys more stuff. These are quite funny. There's one of the friends that we have that works in the server a bit with us. We quite often take the piss out of him, and we built a statue of him up there. Not a particularly flattering one, but I hope he appreciates the effort that went into it. What have we got here? Looks like a workshop or something. Yeah, I think it's a workshop of some sort. It is an unfinished train line. I think this one goes out to a coal mine. But we'll follow it back this way. Oh, there's Nyan Cat. I have to have Nyan Cat. Ah, this is where the nuclear explosion was. Okay, I remember. So yeah, when one of the nuclear reactors, when that went bang, that was underneath this area, and Nyan Cat was on the edge of the crater. So I'm fairly sure that if we dug down underneath here, there would be a huge crater. Alright, let's follow it this way a bit. And I'll finish off with my house. In fact, actually, no. Screw it. Let's go and have a look at the castle. Let's go and have a look at the castle. There's sort of 2 parts of it. Well, almost 3. There's the sort of original stately house-style castle that there is. There's a cliff-top fort. And again, I don't know if you've seen the Guns of Navarone. I sort of built the Guns of Navarone into the back of it. So this is the sort of top fort area. Lots of big guns pointing out, protecting the city, This is the part that Tomsky actually made derelict. Or part of it anyway. Go and have a look in there. Where is it? Yeah, this sort of central room. So we basically made it based around the joke of Oh, what was it? I don't know if you've seen the original Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the VHS videos from, is it early 90s? No, I can't remember. Might have been earlier than that, where they built a huge sort of supercomputer to determine the meaning of life, and after millions and millions of years, it turned around and said the meaning of life is the number 42. So we based this on a sort of a joke towards that, and yeah, it ended up getting made derelict, which is actually probably for the best, considering that's what happened in the film. So we'll have a look back out here. So these are some of the guns that I'm pointing out. Not the guns of Navarone style ones, but let's go down and have a look at those. Let's follow this round. Again, all built around the sort of features of the area, which is quite nice. This big mountain was all sort of already here. Right, these are the sort of guns of Navarone type things. Let's have a quick look in here. Ooh. Open that. Yeah, here we go. So these are the two big guns that are pointed out over the harbour and other bits and pieces. It's a shame that the server's so laggy because there's actually a really nice view over that way. Okay, let's go and have a quick look at the main house down here. There's a really nice build that I did. Again, I think this was the very first thing that I built on this map. Was this big stately home manor castle thing. It's quite cool. There's a load of sort of hidden aspects of it. There's go in here. There's a few just sort of buildings kicking around in there, but those aren't particularly good. So if I head in here, there's sort of a normal stately manor, as you would have, fair amount of rooms, but it's what's underneath it that I really like. So if we follow, just trying to remember my way around it, it's been so long since I've been in here. I've tried to basically make it, what was originally here was a sort of a lake that went in a L shape through here, underneath, and then out that way to where the guns were pointed. And this was built in the middle of it. And I wanted to try and keep some aspect of that. So what I ended up doing was building a sort of underground harbour that went through from one end to the other. Let's go down and we'll have a look at that. Follow around this way. And the underground space under here is fairly big because I ended up moving the ground level so far up, which left a big void underneath here. Again, the similar thing happened in the seaside town where I built all the smugglers' tunnels, where I ended up building something quite high above the ground level, and then moving the terrain up to sort of match it, leaving a big void underneath, where you can fill with interesting stuff. But another thing that we used to have in here was actually linked to by a train tunnel. We'll see if we can get into that. Yeah, there's an old train tunnel through here that was another one of Tomsky's ones that is now made derelict. So this train tunnel used to go from the very first mine that was ever built on this server to Nottaby, and now it's just derelict. I made that hole the other day, but it's all been bricked up and backfilled. And see, originally it was all all open, but this is one of the things that Tomsky does: is go through and brick it up and put dirt and stuff in here to try and make it like an actual abandoned train tunnel. But yeah, we'll go off here back into my section of it. Let's go through here. Again, I hope you enjoy these videos. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see. If you have a quick look through the introductory video, and if there's any specific buildings that you want to have a closer look at, let me know in the comments, and I'll have a try and go through and show you more about it. So this section, what I'm trying to do, in fact, let's have a quick look, with this underground harbour, and I've not finished it yet, was try and have a play with different minecart mechanisms so that I could call a minecart to a specific place using the junction. So either I could call it through to one of these bays. There are 3 different bays. Let's have a quick look through here. I'll show you these all lined. Come on, fly. Right. Here we go. So this is the entrance to the sort of underground harbour. Again, it's sort of based on a real thing, but not hugely accurate. Taking inspiration from a real thing. At well, in Kent in the UK at Lido, no, at Margate Lido, there's actually an underground smugglers sort of harbour underneath that building. And it's a really, really amazing building that not many people have had a chance to look around. It's a sort of Victorian swimming complex that was just added to over the years and years and years and years. So it's sort of the above ground level, and then you've got 3 levels beneath that with old nightclubs and old changing rooms and loads of other bits and pieces in it. And then there's it mixes in with old smugglers' tunnels. Again, it's a completely real place, and this was sort of based on that a little bit. You can't really get into it without the owner's permission now. But here we go. That's the way out, and those are the big guns at the top and the castle and other bits and pieces. But yeah, we'll head quickly back around here for now, and then that'll be it. Oh, low battery. Right, no, I'm going to say that's the end of that there. And yeah, again, let me know if you've enjoyed it. This was pretty much my first ever video on YouTube that I've narrated. I, don't particularly do this very often. I don't really like... well, it's not that I don't like making videos like this, but I don't do it very often. I'm not used to doing it. I'm not a particularly loud person. I'll just, get on with stuff. So, yeah, let me know how it's been, and I'll try to carry on. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Cheers.